Hello. Today we're going to talk about something that honestly can be a bit hard to face. Sometimes emotional dependency, a problem many people don't even realize they're a part of. That feeling of needing someone to feel good about yourself. I imagine it's happened to you. When that person doesn't text you, an awful sense of anxiety takes over. It's even worse when you feel things aren't going well with that person. It's as if your whole world falls apart. When you're in a relationship, it's easy to fall into emotional dependency. And I know it's not something you do on purpose. You don't wake up one day saying, "Today, I'm going to emotionally depend on someone." But without realizing it, you start to base all your happiness and emotional stability on that person. It begins with small gestures. If they reply quickly, you feel good. If they don't, you feel insecure. I'm not saying you shouldn't feel happy when you're with your partner. That's very normal and healthy. The problem arises when you start to depend on them to feel good. You become an extension of their life instead of the protagonist of your own. You start changing your plans and putting aside your interests or your friends just to be available for them. And when that happens, you stop being yourself. You become what you think your partner wants you to be. You lose your identity in the relationship. And that's when things get complicated, because instead of being in a relationship where both people grow and complement each other, you're in a relationship where you lose. The worst part is that deep down, you know it's not right, that you're forgetting about yourself. But the fear of losing that person is stronger. End up doing things you wouldn't normally do just to keep the relationship, like accepting behaviors you don't like, staying silent about things that hurt you, or even sacrificing your well-being for the sake of someone else. It's very hard to see this while you're in the relationship. But when the relationship ends, that's when emotional dependency shows its cruelest side. It's like the ground is pulled out from under you. When that person is gone, you feel empty. Anxiety, sadness, and the fear of being alone take over. You think that without that person, you won't be happy, that your life has lost its meaning. Since everything revolved around them, you start doing things you never thought you'd do, texting them, calling them, even though you know you shouldn't. Or you obsessively check their social media, seeing who they're with, what they're doing, torturing yourself. But you can't stop. It's like an addiction. Every time you find something out about them, the pain grows stronger. The worst part is convincing yourself that you need that person to be okay. And you don't realize that this very idea is what's causing your suffering, because your well-being should never depend on someone else. But you cling so tightly to that relationship that you forget what you truly need, to reconnect with yourself. We've all been there. I've been there. It's very hard when your whole daily routine revolves around one person, and suddenly that person is gone. Everything feels a bit off when it shouldn't. The most normal things in the world feel strange to do. Let me share, from my own experience, how you can overcome emotional dependency. I'll give you some advice, and I'm sorry if it doesn't quite apply to your situation. The first thing I'd say is you have to recognize the problem. The first step is to accept that you have an issue with emotional dependency. It's not easy, of course, but it's the first step toward change. It's understanding that you're basing your happiness on someone else and that it's not good for you. You need to remember who you were before that relationship. What did you enjoy doing? What were your dreams, your goals? Start doing the things you love, even if you don't feel like it at first. Exercise, read a book, take up a new hobby, do things that make you feel good about yourself. You can seek support. Talk to friends, family, or even a professional. There are people who specialize in helping with emotional issues. You don't have to go through this alone. Sometimes, talking to someone who listens without judgment can be a huge relief. You need to learn to set boundaries, especially if you're still in contact with this person, though ideally, you shouldn't be. If you are, establish boundaries. Don't allow yourself to fall back into the dynamics that hurt you. If necessary, create distance. Sometimes cutting contact is the only way to heal. Take care of yourself. Start practicing self-care. This might sound a bit cliché, but it's fundamental. Eat well, get enough sleep, take care of your body, take care of your mind. These are simple, but often overlooked things. Remember, you are the most important person in your life. You need to learn to appreciate yourself and be okay with being alone. Learning to be alone doesn't mean you'll never be in a relationship again. It means learning to enjoy your own company, not depending on someone else to feel whole. When you achieve this, you're ready for another relationship, a healthier one, because you'll no longer be looking for someone to complete you. Instead, you'll be sharing your life with someone from a place of love, not need. It's tough to try to overcome this, but you must forgive yourself and move forward. Don't beat yourself up for falling into emotional dependency. It happens to many people. It happens to everyone the first time they truly care about someone, or when someone becomes an important part of their life. You're not lesser for having gone through this. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them, forgive yourself, and let go of the guilt. Emotional dependency is something we can all experience at some point in our lives. The key is to recognize it and work to overcome it. It won't be easy, but when you free yourself from that burden, when you find your own worth and happiness, life becomes much lighter and more fulfilling. So, if you've identified with something I've said, or think someone else might be going through it, I want you to know you're not alone. Tell that other person they're not alone either. You can overcome this. You can take control of your life. You can reconnect with yourself. You can move forward. You deserve a life where you're the protagonist, not one where you depend on someone else to be happy. Remember, your value doesn't depend on anyone else. It's within you. Once you realize that, you become much stronger than you ever were before.